Hello there, my name is Beth Gaff and I'm the Media Literacy Coordinator here at the Peabody Public Library. And first off, I just want to let you know that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means you can minimize this, pause this, go away from this, and come back to this at any time. You do not have to sit here all in one setting. Keep in mind that this is part 2 of a two-part class. So if you have not taken part 1, I please would ask that you do take part 1 before you start taking part 2. This way you have an better understanding of what's going on. We're starting in the middle of a class in part 2 versus the beginning of a class. So you've missed out on all of the basics up to now. So you'll want to go back and refresh on part 1. So also be listening for your Computer Class Pass Incentive Program secret code. This way you can be on your way to prizes and so forth. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to Microsoft Excel 2013 for Beginners, and this is the part 2 section. Just a little bit of a refresher if you have not seen part 1. This is what's covered in part 1. We go over getting to know Excel, the interface, the ribbon, the quick access, the backstage view, and the worksheet view. We also talk about creating and opening blank spreadsheets, as well as saving and sharing workbooks, and we move on to cell basics. So if you haven't done this, then please go back and do it. This way you'll be right up to date where you need to be with what we're going to be covering in part 2. This is what we're going to be covering today in part 2. We're going to talk about modifying columns and rows. We're going to be doing formatting of cells, text alignment. We're going to do worksheet basics, the page layout, printing workbooks, and free alternatives. If you took part 1, then you already knew what you were looking for when you came into part 2. But if not, here's just a little refresher to remind you of what we're going to be discussing today.
For a better life.
In Excel, every workbook is different. That means you may want to modify certain things, like the size and layout of your cells, to better fit the data you're working with. This column has been resized, for example, but not quite enough. Most of the text is still getting cut off. I'm going to increase the width a little more by positioning my mouse over the line in the column heading, then clicking and dragging it to the right. Another option is to auto-size the column. This will automatically adjust the width so it fits the contents of the cells exactly. Just double-click the line instead of dragging it. Now the column is perfectly sized to the text. Rows work the same way. You can adjust them manually or auto-size them to fit the height of your text. Sometimes it's useful to be able to resize all of your cells at once. In this example, I'd like to make all of my rows the exact same height. To do this, click the Select All button in the top left corner. Then resize a row, it doesn't matter which one, and the change will be applied to the entire worksheet. Next, I need to add another row to this list. I'd like to put it in between row 4 and row 5. To add a new row, all you have to do is select the row heading below where you want the new one to appear. Then click the Insert command. The process is similar for inserting a new column. Just select the column heading to the right of where you want the new one to go. Click the Insert command, and a column will appear to the left. Deleting columns and rows is just as easy. First, select the column or row you want to delete. Then click the Delete command. The column or row will be deleted, causing the other cells to move and fill in the gap automatically. Just remember that there's a difference between clearing and deleting. Deleting cells removes them from your worksheet. Clearing just removes the contents. You can also move a column or row to a different location. In this example, we'll move a column. All you have to do is select the one you want, then click the Cut command. Next, select the column to the right of where you want the column to be moved. Click the Insert drop-down menu on the ribbon, then choose Insert Cut Cells. Another useful technique for rearranging data is the ability to hide certain columns or rows. For example, I don't really need to see these 3 columns right now. I'd rather focus on the customer's email addresses. If we right-click, then choose Hide from the menu, the columns temporarily disappear. To unhide them, select the columns on either side of the ones that are hidden, then right-click again, and choose Unhide. Let's fast forward to the finished worksheet. Next, I'd like to take a look at wrapping text, which is one way of addressing cells that contain more text than they can actually display. For example, I'd like to resize my column of addresses to about half its current size, but still be able to see the contents. We can do this using the Wrap Text command on the ribbon. As you can see, this displays the text on multiple lines. Now for the finishing touch, combining the cells in the top row so the title of my worksheet can be centered in a single large cell. To do this, select the cells you want to merge, then click the Merge and Center command. There, that's perfect. To access more merge options, open the drop-down menu here. You can merge across, creating merged rows instead of a single large cell if you have multiple cells selected. You can also merge without centering, or split your cells up again. The best way to learn about merging cells, wrapping text, and working with columns and rows is to practice. So the next time you're using Excel, look for ways that you can customize your worksheet to better fit your data.
All right, well, after watching that video, it's challenge time. Open an existing Excel 2013 workbook. If you want to, you can use the practice workbook. I have a link on the channel, and it is labeled for the modifying columns, cells, and rows. You're going to modify the width of a column. You are using the example, use the column that contains the players' first names. You're going to insert a column between A and B and insert a row between 3 and 4. You're going to delete a column or a row. You're going to move a column or a row. Try using the text wrap command on the cell range. If you're using the example, wrap the text in the column that contains street addresses. Try merging some cells. If you're using the example, merge the cells in the title row using the Merge in Cell command. And the cell range is A1 through AE1. Don't forget that practice workbook that is affiliated with this, the links are located on the YouTube channel page, and they're also going to be attached to this class. So either way, you are going to be able to have access to the workbook to be able to use it.
For a better life.
In Excel 2013, the look and feel of your worksheet has a lot to do with the formatting choices you make. If we added some formatting to this fitness chart, for example, we can make it easier to read and more visually appealing. I'd like to start by selecting the cell that contains Fitness Progress Chart and making the text bigger, like a proper title. Just go to the Font group on the Home tab and click the drop-down arrow next to Size. You'll see a preview of the results as you go down the list. I think 24 looks good. Maybe we could go a little bigger, though. Increase and decrease are two other options for quickly changing the size of your text. All you have to do is click the command, and perfect. To change the actual font, click the drop-down arrow here. Then make your way down the list. You'll get that live preview again. I think I'll go with this one. It's different, but still very easy to read, which makes it a good choice for the title. So, how about some color? To view your options, click the arrow next to the font color command. You can go with one of the theme colors here, or if you don't see anything you like, go ahead and click More Colors. This bright pink should look nice with the color scheme I have in mind. Another way to make your text stand out is to use bold, italic, or underline. Bold should be a good choice in this example. Now the text really stands out and is much easier to read. I think I'm ready to add some formatting to the rest of the worksheet. At a glance, it's kind of hard to tell the header row from the rest of the chart because it just isn't distinct. We can easily fix that by giving the cells a unique fill color. All you have to do is open the menu next to the Fill Color command and make your choice. Dark gray should be a nice contrast to the pink we already have in the title. Now I just need to change the color of my text to something lighter. You can also use cell styles to quickly apply different formatting to your workbook. Let's give it a try on the rest of the chart. When you're ready, click the Cell Styles command. Then mouse over the styles for a preview, and click the one you want. As you can see at this point, adding a fill color to a range of cells causes the lines in between to disappear. I'd like to change that by adding borders to the entire chart. Click the drop-down arrow next to the Borders command and you'll find lots of different options. For example, you can add a top and bottom border, a thick outside border, even different line colors and styles. For a border that goes around the outside and in between the cells, choose All Borders. I also want to show you how to change the placement or alignment of your text using the options in the Alignment group. In addition to left, center, and right, text can also be aligned to the bottom, middle, or top of the cell. Aligning the text in the middle center should make the chart nice and easy to read. Finally, one of Excel's most useful features is its ability to format dates and numbers for you automatically. For example, it would help me to know not only the dates that I took these measurements, but also the days of the week. All you have to do is click the drop-down arrow next to the Number Format command, then choose a format. In this case, we'll choose the long date. You can accomplish lots of things with date and number formatting. Take this column of percentages, just numbers with a decimal place. Switching to the percentage format will instantly display them properly. There we go! What a big difference formatting can make. Not only does my worksheet look better than it did before, it's also easier to review the data.
All right, well, I just wanted to touch base with you a little bit more about text alignment. By default, any text entered into your worksheet will be aligned to the bottom left of the cell, while any numbers will be aligned to the bottom right. So changing the alignment of your cell content allows you to choose how the content is displayed in any cell, which can make your cell content easier to read. So here we're going to go through the different alignment options that are available to you. This is the left alignment, which allows content to the left border of the cell. You've got your center alignment, which aligns content an equal distance from the left and the right borders of the cell. And you've got your right align, which aligns content to the right border of the cell. You also got your top align, which aligns content to the top border of the cell. The middle align, which aligns content on equal distance from the top and bottom borders. And the bottom align, which aligns content to the bottom border of the cell. So there are several. Again, this is your left, your center, and your right. This is your top align, your middle align, and your bottom align. Why don't you right now go ahead and just fill in some basic data, first name, last name, email works just fine, and go in there and play with those alignment features which are located in that paragraph pane. If you're having a hard time finding that, please get in contact with me and I can assist you on getting that going. However, this is fairly simple and it just gets your text aligned the way that you would like it to be. Time for another challenge. And again, that practice workbook for this particular challenge is going to be located on the YouTube channel page, or it's going to be connected to this class. Either way, you're going to be able to have access to it. But you're going to want to open up that workbook, select a cell and change the font size, style, and color. If you're using the example, then change the title in cell A3 to Verdana font style, size 16 with the font color of green. You're going to apply bold, italics, and underline to a cell. If you're using the example, bold the text in the cell range A4 to C4. Try changing the vertical and horizontal text alignment for some cells. Add a border to the cell range. If you're using the practice workbook or the example, add a border to the header cell. It is in row 4. Change the fill color of the cell range. If you're using the example, add a fill color to row 4. Try changing the formatting of the number. If you're using the example, which is that workbook, change the date formatting to cell range D4 and H4 to the long date. So have fun with this challenge and don't forget where your links are located.
For a better life.
By default, when you create a new workbook in Excel, it contains one worksheet called Sheet 1. Sometimes that's all you need. But if you want, you can create additional worksheets and even customize them so you can store large amounts of data all in the same workbook. As you can see, I've already made some progress creating worksheets for each month in the year. I still need one final sheet for the month of December. To quickly insert a new sheet, just click the New Sheet button, always found to the far right of your tabs. Alternatively, you can copy one of your existing worksheets. This will create a new worksheet and duplicate the contents, perfect for keeping track of my budget using the same table each month. All you have to do is right-click the worksheet you want. Then choose Move or Copy from the menu. Next, check the box that says Create a Copy and identify where you want the worksheet to go. I want mine to go to the very end of the list. Click OK, and a copy will appear with the same name as the original plus a version number. Remember, this is the worksheet I needed for the month of December, so I'm going to rename it by right-clicking the tab, then choosing Rename. When you're done, click anywhere outside the tab to deselect it, or press Enter on your keyboard. I'm also going to update the worksheet itself. Next, I'd like to review the rest of my worksheets and make sure everything is in order. It looks like some of them need to be moved. To do this, just drag and drop the worksheet tabs into place. You can even color code your worksheets to make them easier to reference. Just right-click the tab, then go to Tab Color. The color is less noticeable when the worksheet is selected. If you select another worksheet, you'll see the color the way it was intended. Finally, if you have a worksheet you don't need anymore, you can easily remove it from your workbook. All you have to do is right-click the tab, then choose Delete. Now it looks like we're all set. When you have multiple worksheets, you can work with each one individually, or you can edit several at the same time. This can be useful if you're working with lots of data that's closely related. Let's take a look. For example, I'm planning to move in the month of September. My rent is going to go up, and I'm canceling my gym membership too. That means I need to update not only this worksheet, but also the sheets for the rest of the year. We can edit them all at once just by grouping them. Start by selecting the first sheet you want to group, then press and hold Ctrl on your keyboard while you select the rest. Release the Control key, and you'll be able to navigate and make changes to the data, changes that will apply to all the worksheets in the group. For example, if I change the rent to $775 in one worksheet, the rest of the group gets updated too. The same rule applies if I clear the row that contains my gym membership. To ungroup, just right-click one of the worksheets, then click Ungroup Sheets. Alternatively, you can click any worksheet outside the group. Just be careful not to do that by accident. Worksheets are a great option for storing lots of data in the same workbook. And with the ability to group them, you can easily add or edit data anytime, whether you have hundreds of worksheets or just a few.
Challenge time. Again, don't forget that your practice workbook is located on the YouTube channel, or I've got it attached to this particular class. So you're going to open an existing workbook or use the practice workbook, insert a new worksheet and rename it. If you're using the practice workbook, then you're going to want to make the title in the new worksheet April. Delete a worksheet. If you're using the workbook, delete the blank worksheet named Sheet 4. Move a worksheet, copy a worksheet, try grouping and ungrouping worksheets. If you're using the practice workbook for the example, group January and March worksheet, try entering new content in the January worksheet and then notice how it appears in the March worksheet. So we're just playing around with the different worksheets. And again, this is all under the Worksheet Basics.
For a better life.
Because workbooks are designed to be viewed electronically, it can be hard to tell what your data might look like outside of Excel, for example, if you plan to print it or save it as a PDF. Luckily, there are several different ways to view and customize your layout. To get started, I recommend switching to Page Layout View using the command in the bottom right corner. This will help you visualize the final product as you make changes to your workbook. Next, go to the Page Layout tab on the ribbon. Here you'll find everything you need to modify your page orientation, margins, print titles, and more. For example, our current orientation is portrait or vertical, a good choice if your goal is to fit more rows on each page. I'd like to switch to landscape or horizontal so I can fit more columns instead. Just click the orientation command, then choose landscape, and you'll instantly see the change. There's still one column that's getting cut off on the right, but that's okay. If we adjust the margins, we should be able to fit all the columns on a single page. All you have to do is click the margins command. Here you can choose one of the predefined sizes, or you can customize your margins depending on what you need. Just go back to the margins command, but this time click Custom Margins. I'm going to make the left and right margins just a little bit wider at 0.5 inches instead of 0.25. When you're done, click OK, and your worksheet will be updated. You can also add headers and footers to your workbook to make the printed copy easier to read. In this example, we'll add a header by clicking the area here. This opens the Design tab for working with headers and footers. From here, you can easily add page numbers, today's date, and other information to your header or footer. All you have to do is click the command you want. How about page numbers? When you're done, click anywhere else in your worksheet to exit. Now the pages are numbered page 1 and page 2. Here's a tip: if your worksheet uses title headings, you can include them on each page to make the printed copy easier to read. For example, in this workbook, it would really help me to know what months these sales figures are for. Just go back to your title headings, then click the Print Titles command. Next, click the button next to the field you want to repeat. You can choose either rows or columns. The dialog box will collapse and your cursor will turn into a selection arrow. From here, select the data you want to repeat on each page, then click the button again to go back to the dialog box. When you're done, click OK. Now my header row appears at the top of page 1 and page 2. There's one more thing I'd like to change about my layout. Notice how the data is split up so page 2 only contains about 9 or 10 rows? I'd like more control over that. Instead of the last couple of rows, I want the data to be divided evenly, 20 people on each page. To do this, I'm going to switch to the page break preview using the command in the bottom right corner. This makes it easy to review your page breaks so you can easily insert your own. Simply select the row below where you want the page break to appear. Then click the Breaks command and choose Insert Page Break. If we switch back to Page Layout view and zoom out just a little, we can see that the data is divided evenly between page 1 and page 2. Now you have all the tools you need to customize your page layout and prepare your workbook for printing or exporting.
All right, well, it's time for another challenge, and this is all in regards to the page layout. So you're going to open an existing workbook, or you can get that link to a practice workbook, which is located on the channel, or it's attached to this class. We're going to change the page orientation to landscape, try modifying the margins of the worksheet, try using the Print Tiles command to include a row or column in each page of your workbook. If you're using the example, use the Print Titles command to make row 1 of the schedule worksheet appear at the top of every page. Insert a page break. If you're using the example, insert a page break between rows 19 and 20 on the schedule worksheet. Navigate a page layout view and insert a header or footer. That easy. Should have all been included in your video, so you shouldn't have any problems. If you are having issues, just get in contact with me and we can sit down together and go over that.
Life.
Workbooks can be used completely electronically, but sometimes you need to print them too. It's important to understand the basics of printing, plus the other things you have control over, like what parts of the workbook to print and more. You'll find everything you need in the Backstage view under Print. Here you can adjust your settings, see a preview, and print your workbook all in one place. Now you could just enter the number of copies you want and click the Print button right away. But if you want more control over the finished product, you might want to take a look at the options below. If your workbook contains multiple sheets, the first thing you'll need to do is decide whether to print only the active sheets, which is the default print method, or the entire workbook. You can also narrow it down to just your current selection. Let's go back to my workbook so we can review how these options work. A worksheet is considered active when it's selected, like my 2012 worksheet is selected now. To print more than one worksheet but not the entire workbook, just hold Control on your keyboard while you click the sheets you want. Now Excel will print the worksheets for 2010, 2011, and 2012. But that's not what I want. The data I'm after is more specific, the sales records for the top 20 salespeople in 2013. I've already sorted that information from largest to smallest and marked the top 20 with a gold star. We don't want to print the entire worksheet because that would include more data than we need. Why don't we print a selection instead? Start by selecting the data you want to print, including your header row if you have one. Then go back to the print pane in the Backstage view. Watch the print preview closely and you'll notice it changes when we switch from Print Active Sheets to Print Selection. Now only my current selection appears on the printout, the top 20 salespeople for 2013. I do see some other things I'd like to address now, starting with the way the data fits on the printout. Right now, the last column is getting cut off because there isn't enough room on page 1. We can probably fix that by adjusting the scaling of the worksheet. Just open the menu here, and you'll find several different options to choose from. If we choose Fit Sheet on one page, Excel will shrink the printout to just the right size so it fits on a single sheet of paper. This can be a great way to condense your worksheet, but be aware that the text will become harder to read the more you scale it down. I think I'll switch back to no scaling, and to make the data fit, I'll adjust the margins instead. You can use the menu here to choose one of the predefined sizes, or you can click the Show Margins button in the bottom right corner of your preview. This feature makes it easy to customize your margins using the guides you see here. I'm just going to make them a little narrower by clicking and dragging. And now we can see all 8 columns without scaling the size of the worksheet. There are still several other options in the print pane that let you control collating, orientation, and paper size. But I think I'm happy with my worksheet the way it is. When you're ready, go ahead and click the Print button at the very top of the pane. Now you just have to wait for your worksheet to finish printing.
Okay, well, this is our last challenge for this beginner's class. And again, if you need the practice workbook, you can get that link. It's located on the channel or it's attached to this class. Open an existing Excel workbook if you have one already that you've created, or you can use the existing practice workbook. Try printing 2 active worksheets. If you're using the practice workbook, try printing the player info and the schedule worksheets. Try printing only a selection of the cells. If you're using the example, try printing the upcoming games for the Bulls, which is cell range A12 through E19. Try the scaling feature to condense your workbook content. If you're using the example, use scaling to make the worksheet fit onto a single page, and adjust the margins from the preview pane. So this will be your last challenge for the beginner's class for Excel 2013. Alright, so now I wanted to talk to you about some free alternatives that you have for yourself. Microsoft Office is one of the most popular programs on the market with more than 1 billion users worldwide. But at $140 for just the basic package, which is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote only, it is a little expensive. So what if you can't afford it? Thankfully, there are programs like Google Docs, Office Online, OpenOffice, and LibreOffice. They don't have as many features as Microsoft Office, so just think of them as an Office Lite. But they're free, easy to use, and readily available online. They are a great alternative if you're looking for something simple, or if you just can't stomach the prices of Microsoft Office. So I wanted to share these programs with you just in case you hadn't heard of them. And I really do hope that you find a useful at-home, at-work, or at-school program that's going to work for you. So let's start off with Google Docs. Google Docs is a web-based program you can access directly from your browser. This means there's nothing to download or to install. All you have to do is sign into your Google account and navigate to Google Drive, where Google Docs is housed, and you can create and store files online. Google Docs comes with all types of useful features like the ability to share your files with other people so you can work on them at the same time. You can also access your files on any device, including your phone, tablet, or a different computer. So do keep in mind that you have to have a Google account in order to use Google Docs, Sheets, Drive. So you need to create some type of a Gmail, which is an email account. Also keep in mind that you do have to have internet to access Google Drive, Google Docs, and Google Sheets. This is not something downloaded on your computer, so it does require internet usage every time you go to use it. So if you'd like to learn more about Google Drive and Google Docs, gcflearnfree.org has tons of tutorials about Google Drive, Google Documents, and Google Sheets. The next one is called Office Online. Microsoft's Office Online is also a web-based program, so you do have to have the internet. All you need is a free account, a Microsoft account, and you can access your files almost anywhere. You can also share your files online and collaborate with others. The coolest thing about Office Online is how similar it is to Microsoft Office. After all, both products are made by Microsoft. It offers many of the same tools and features, just in a simpler, more web-friendly page. The interface should be a breeze if you have experience with desktop version of Office. So that's a free version. And you can learn more about that through gcflearnfree.org, through their OneDrive and their Office Online tutorials that they have. You also have OpenOffice and LibreOffice. So if you're looking for a more traditional alternative to Microsoft Office, something you can actually download and install on your computer, you might want to check out OpenOffice or LibreOffice. So you would not have to have internet to use it, but you would have to have internet to download it. And once you have it downloaded, you can use it offline. These programs may not be as slick as Google Docs or Office Online, but they come with a few extra features, including a tool for creating and managing databases. You can use them for almost all of your home and office needs, and the environment is remarkably similar to older versions of Microsoft Office. There aren't any tutorials available through GCF Learn for that. However, I do have some stream classes for the OpenOffice, not so much LibreOffice, but I do have it for the OpenOffice, so you could get on there and kind of take a look at some of the different features. So these are just some free alternatives in case the thought of buying Microsoft Office at the price that it's at is really breaking your budget. Then you can go with some of these other free versions. Go ahead right now and get online and just kind of take a look at the different versions. All right, well, congratulations. You have completed part 2, and hopefully you've completed part 1 as well. So you're completely done with Excel 2013. If you jumped into part 2 before you went to part 1, that's okay, as long as you feel confident and you feel good about what you've done and you've gained some knowledge. That's what's important. So congratulations, you made it through Excel 2013 part 2. If it wasn't for you, I would have no reason to have these classes, so thank you for taking the time to watch. Make sure you're listening for your secret code that's within this class, so you can be on your way to win prizes. And again, I'm going to do it right now here at the end, and your secret code for the Excel Part 2 classes, I am geared and ready to go with Excel Part 2. So just let me know that you've taken the class, and really I'll just get you marked down. If you need any additional help, please call me and schedule a one-on-one appointment for free. We can go over all your technology needs and whatever that may be or whatever you may need. Also, don't forget that there's a group on Facebook. It's Tech Talk Technology for helpful weekly hints and tips. So you don't want to miss out on that. We also have the Mobile Technology Lab that's out in our community. Be looking for a location near you today to save you a little bit of a trip to the library. You might be able to get somewhere a little bit closer into town. So again, thank you so much for taking this. Without you, I'd have no reason to have these classes. So hopefully you feel a lot more confident in using Excel 2013. I want to thank the following websites for their information. If it wasn't for the following websites, we would not have been able to have this class today. I want to give a huge shout out to gcflearnfree.org. Their tutorials and their videos are fantastic. Highly recommend them. So please take a chance and look at them as well. And a lot of the information in the class came from them, so you can go straight to the source yourself.